No! Welcome back to Mask Talk. Yes, Mask Talk, where we talk about nothing but masks 24/7, 365 days a year, whether you like it or not. Yes, welcome back. Tonight's episode is going to be a really good one. We talk about one of the most amazing talents in the entire hobby, Mr. JORDU SCHELL. But first, tonight's episode is brought to you by Coffin Ghoul. Yes, Coffin Ghoul, makers of the fine Father Mask. Yes, from that show that's pretty creepy. Yes, they made an amazing Father's Day mask, which is a reboot of the old Twisted Toy Box version. And I was so excited because I used to have that damn mask. Sold it probably 13 years ago, never should have. But guess what? I got another one now. They only made 6 of these. Yes, and you probably, and it's so crazy, you probably all missed out on this deal. Look at this. Moss, smells dead, tastes dead, and looks dead for $150. Look at the quality. $150. Where can you get a mask like that for $150 these days? I'll tell you where. At Coffin Ghoul. They're slashing prices. The boys at Coffin Ghoul are resurrecting some old talent out there. Some really old cool talent from Mr. Chris Russell. And that was an old mask that he made many years ago. Recently brought it back. And I'm like watching like, oh my God, I hope I can get one. I hope I can get one. They're only making 6 of these. And then I message and Mike's like, yeah, dude, like they're not sold out yet. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are these people awake here? I think they're sold out now. But that's the kind of stuff you're going to get from Coffin Ghoul. Yes, Coffin Ghoul. You know what else you can get from Coffin Ghoul? Crazy winter hats like this with eyeballs on them. Oh my God, I got toxic waste in my yard. Yeah, they make crazy hats. They make candles. But most of all, they make masks. They're a new company, but you know, they've been around the block a long time. Mr. Chris Russell, of course, and now Mr. Mike Fry. They're partners, I believe. They're partnering up and making a mask company, and I wish them all the best. And I'm sure I'll be showing you a lot more of their merchandise in weeks to come. Here's those stickers. Yeah. Coffin Ghoul. I told you, Coffin Ghoul. All right, now back to the reason you're here to watch this episode, right? JORDU SCHELL. Oh my God. Yes, JORDU is one of the most amazing sculptors and creature creators there is in the entire hobby / industry. However, everyone has to start somewhere, right? And JORDU started at a very young age. Like around the age of, you know, he was making things in his young teenage years of like 15, 16. But when JORDU was around 17 years old, he was making some pretty awesome masks. And he decided that he should market these masks under a name, like a mask company name. JORDU grew up like the rest of us, loving Dime Post Studios and Distortions Unlimited and everyone else out there that was making these great independent masks of the 70s and 80s. So JORDU went on to start his own line, and he made up a name. He made up a name of a company, okay, more of his like brand, you know, and the name of that brand was WEIRDOM. Okay, WEIRDOM. See that? WEIRDOM. This is the 1986 catalog. So JORDU went on to put a single ad in Fangoria magazine back in, oh gosh, this was around 1985 or 1986. He was only like 17 years old at the time. And he had this, you know, little line of masks he made. Like, I don't remember how many exactly, but you would send me $5 or whatever it was. I think it was $5, and he will send you like a Xerox catalog in the mail, even a color catalog, which is very rare these days to have one. I've got one right here we're going to look at. So he puts this ad in Fangoria. He's fresh. He's not sold a mask to anybody at this point. It's his first attempt at selling a bunch of stuff and advertising. You know, he's never advertised before. So he puts an ad in Fangoria, and guess, this is true. This is a true story, because I just talked with JORDU on Friday night on the phone. Guess who the first guy was to reach out to JORDU Schell and send him that $5 and strike up a conversation with him? Yes, Frank. I keep telling you, Frank amazes me more and more and more out there as I dig deeper into his life of collecting and everything, and talking to the people that interacted with him along the way. JORDU told me Frank was the first guy to reach out to me, and so JORDU sends him some catalogs like these. Now I'm going to show you these color Xeroxes that JORDU would send out to people. Extremely rare. Look at that. So he would send things like this. He may have had an older one before this one came out. Like this, I don't think this is the very first one, but this is the 1986 line, which is incredible. And 1, 2, 3. We at least have 3 masks off of these pages right below here, and then some to show you. But I want to show you these. These are so cool. JORDU could not believe I had these. He goes, "Oh my God, those are rare." I go, "You know, Frank, he kept everything." For those of you that don't know, Frank was a librarian. It was in his blood to be, you know, a person that catalogs and saves everything. And, you know, it's all for the love of the genre, the horror genre and the masks. You wouldn't believe the extent he went to make sure this stuff was archived, and it's crazy. We will get into all that in the big video I do on him. But look in here, WEIRDOM 1986, the order form. You can order young JORDU Schell's masks for the prices of $49, $65, and even $79. So that's pretty much where he was at. And like I said, he struck up a conversation with Frank and began to sell masks to Frank for the Frankenshrine. And he got other people, you know, reaching out to him for catalogs, and he was making other sales, but Frank was number one, and I would guess Frank was one of his best clients. So it's weird that Frank had a little part of getting JORDU, you know, this boost out there. It's crazy. Back to this color Xerox catalog. There's other stuff there's some cool stuff here I'm going to talk to you about, but let's see. Oh God, what do I start off with? This page here, all right? There's a lot of rare masks on this page. One, though, is right up here called Rotting Corpse, okay? Rotting Corpse is a super rare Rotting Corpse mask that JORDU made when he was around the age of 17 years old. And he told me, you know, back then, he's a 17-year-old kid. So he's looking at other masks out there that were produced, and they were his inspirations, you know. He said, that's a direct, I'll say, copy of Rotted Corpse 1 from Distortions. That was his total inspiration for this super rare Rotting Corpse mask. Look at that. Oh my God. Isn't that crazy? Look at that. A young JORDU Schell made this, sold it to Frank back in 1986. 86. And in 86, I was 14 years old. So that's when this was all going down. Crazy. I was still in grade school. Yeah. I graduated grade school in 1987. And I ran to the arcade with my parachute pants on and played Zaxxon. So I could not wait to show you guys this. This is one cool mask. And you'll notice it is on a styrofoam head. Luckily, Frank painted these styro heads black with some thick black paint. Which is good that it didn't dry the hell out of this mask. I mean, he's aged. Like, he's very firm, but pliable. Like, you know, he is pliable. However, this is not coming out of here. Okay, that's, for those of you that don't believe styrofoam can destroy a mask in like 40 years of contact, they'll get stuck inside of them. I've showed this over and over and over. They get stuck in these masks, and if you're going to just jam it out of there, rip it out, you're going to risk ripping this mask into pieces and cracking it. So I'm going to have to go with sharp tools and do a surgery to cut it out of there very carefully and hope I don't screw it up. Look at that thing. So, rotting corpse. All right, now, the next mask on this page. Which one do you think I'm going to pull out? Suitor number 1 or suitor number 6? Number 6. The amazing Venusian alien. Oh my god. And I'm going to get into the story. So some of you Death Studios guys will know, yes, Death Studios did produce some of these later on. These are not Death Studios copies. These are the real deal original JORDU shell pieces, all right? Let's get Mr. Venusian alien. Where's he? Oh, here he is. This is a really rare mask. And this is a beautiful copy. Holy cow. Look at that, guys. Man. My friend Dino, I recently acquired one of these that was tattered and ripped and collapsed, and it's just a freaking mess. I bought it from a known scammer now that actually sent me a couple masks, then tried scamming a bunch of people after that. I sent that one to Dino. He goes, dude, that's like this is the only nice copy he's ever seen of the Venusian alien. Maybe we know of 3 total, 2 or 3 to exist. But Frank's, of course, look at that thing. Frank's is incredible. Now, both of these masks were victims to the mold. Those of you that watch the channel know that I just did a video on mold removal off of the rare, that dude, the Steve Johnson alien, and the she creature and other masks, but yeah, these 2 had the mold on them. Not as bad as that dude, but they look incredible now. This one is nice and soft. He was also on a big old styrofoam head. Luckily, this had a big enough opening. I didn't have to stretch it too much. I was able to pull the damn thing out of there, so pretty awesome. Oh, you know what that means? It's time for viewer comments. Yes, viewers of the channel that leave the best comment of the week get their comment displayed on the screen. This is great. Oh, tonight's winner of viewer comments goes to little Steven Klopfer, where Steven writes, this is on the mold video, guys. Little Steven wrote, great mask. Hecka boring show. Wah, wah. Well, Steven, I don't know if you realize this, but you were watching a video where a guy was removing mold off of an old latex rubber Halloween mask. I don't know how much more exciting it could have been.
Okay, so more than, yeah?
Anyway, back to the show. 2 badass pieces by JORDU. What can we look at next? Oh man. So there's some really rare stuff. Like, these are super rare. I think we're gonna get even rarer with the next few masks. All right, let's go to our pages here. So the WEIRDOM catalogs. The cool thing about the old days of JORDU, interacting with Frank, you know, JORDU didn't have a ton of customers at that time, so he would hand draw like these cartoons for Frank. Look at Merry Christmas, Frank from WEIRDOM, and he'd draw this stuff out, and he would draw all these characters, like little cartoon characters. There's JORDU in the middle. That's his self-portrait. And a lot of these guys look like his masks. That looks like a Death Studios mask there. JORDU writes, Frank, this is the mask I've been telling you about. It is suitable for wearing, although it has been cast in thick rubber for display in particular. Hope your Christmas has been spooktacular. Call me upon receiving this. So, from all of us at WEIRDOM to all of you at the Frankenshrine, Merry Christmas. So cool. Young JORDU drawing the cartoons, sending them to Frank. Frank was definitely a heck of a person to talk with on the phone and to get to know. So I'm sure JORDU really got into, doing things like that and sending them to Frank. At that time, Frank was definitely much older than JORDU. Can't do the math right now, but hey. All right. This one you guys will recognize because it definitely was produced by Death Studios. This was also produced by Death Studios, but we're going to get into that timeline shortly. First, I'm going to talk about all JORDU Schell produced pieces before Jeff got involved. Look at that. So that, my friends, is a genuine swamp monster from the young JORDU. And I'm sure all of you know the inspiration behind this mask. Those of you that read your comic books know that that is a direct inspiration. That man thing was a direct inspiration for that mask. JORDU's swamp monster. Now we're going to go back to our catalog sheet. I've got other, but we're going to go back to the first 86 catalog here. And then I'm going to read you something cool from Mr. David Lady to Frank that ties into all this. It's great. All right, so now back to our color catalogs here, our color Xerox catalogs. Now we're going to talk about a really, really rare JORDU Schell mask from the 1986 line on this page. Which one's it going to be? It is going to be the werewolf. Yes. I have one here from Frank's, and I would venture to say that it is probably the only one I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of masks, and I've never seen another one of these. So, it's not the catalog copy. Catalog copy has less hair on the forehead. This mask is awesome. Remember where JORDU is now with his talents. This is going back to the age of 17. Look at this. That is awesome. So, that's JORDU's werewolf. Sent it to Frank. That sat in the Frankenshrine for a long time. This actually sat in the same glass case that the old Vern Langdon zombie was in for years and years and years. And in the past few years, this thing also got caked in mold. I had to clean him. He was really moldy. And I just cleaned him and got all that stuff off. But that is one awesome JORDU Schell creation from the young JORDU Schell. I had to start showing you these things one by one. We'll put you there, werewolf. Now, I'm going to save probably one of the rarest ones for last. So, another very recognizable one from the old WEIRDOM line is one called Alien Warrior. Yes, this massive Alien Warrior is an old original JORDU Schell copy. I guess this would be a good time to talk about the Death Studios connection now. So you probably can't see me too good. One thing I forgot to mention about the old werewolf. Jordu told me that his inspiration for this werewolf, there was a Rick Baker test. There was like a Rick Baker test puppet or test, you know, dummy for the Howling, and it ended up not being used in the film, and Jordu based this off of that piece. So it was a Rick Baker test piece for the Howling. That was the direct inspiration for this werewolf. Now the crazy alien warrior. Look at that. I may have showed this maybe once on the channel, I don't know, but another amazing artifact of the Frankenshrine that Jordu sent Frank way back when, and it's in beautiful condition. That one, we're gonna move you, shrunken head. That one didn't get any mold on it, thank God. It was in great shape. We're gonna make room because gotta make room for the little lady at the end here. She's gonna be so cool. I guarantee you, some of you people probably have not seen the mask I'm about to show you. So at the age of 19 years old, Mr. Jeff Death from Death Studios noticed the masks of a young Jordu, and Jordu was getting better and better as he went on, you know. And I believe Jeff had a job opening. Jordu was now 19 or 20 years old, calls up Jeff Death, and ends up working at Death Studios for like a whole year. And Jeff told Jordu before he got the job, Jeff definitely saw Jordu's masks and said, "Hey, how about I produce some of these? I have a much wider audience than you do at this point. I think it'd be a good way to sell a bunch of masks." And they did their thing, and that's how some of the characters you see on here, boom, 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 ended up being produced by Death Studios back then. So some will have different kind of paint jobs and stuff, but those were definitely JORDU SCHELL creations. So Jordu went on to work at Jeff's for a whole year, learned a lot more, learned a lot from Jeff, and kept getting better and better. And it was around this time, this is so cool. It was around this time that, let me rearrange some stuff because this is great. I love this part about what I'm going to tell you now. So around the time of Jordu working at Death Studios, 45 minutes from where I'm sitting right now is Death Studios in LaPorte, Indiana. Jeff's been there forever. Frank gets a letter on February 5th from Mr. David Lady. Okay, what I'm going to show you is this top paragraph. Okay, I read this to Jordu, and I could tell he was smiling over the phone and thought it was awesome. I'm going to post it on the screen as I read it. Dear Frank, thank you for sharing these photos with me. The female alien with the jeweled headdress is fantastic. Also enjoyed green alien with red eyes. Swamp monster? Jordu has certainly come a long way in a short time. I hope he sticks with it. I'll watch for him in the pages of Fangoria. He should send them some photos. Isn't that awesome? So, it's crazy. Look where Jordu ended up now. I mean, that is so neat that paragraph was in this letter. I happen to be reading this letter right before I called Jordu, and I go, holy shit, I gotta tell Jordu what this says, because it's so cool. David Lady, saying, I hope he sticks with it. I'll be watching for him and saying that, Jordu certainly came a long way in a short time. He was getting better and better and better in his his late teenage years up to the age of 20 or so. So that was awesome. Speaking of this female alien with the jeweled headdress, that's fantastic. She's right down here, guys. And now this, I'm going to guess, most of you probably have never seen this mask. This is the JORDU Shell version, not the Rare Studios version. This is the even rarer JORDU Shell Alien Queen. I believe her name's Alien Queen. She's not in this cat. I have another catalog, maybe the Death Studios catalog. But how cool is that thing? So yeah, that did not come with the jeweled headdress. I think in JORDU's catalog copy it had something on top of her head similar to that. It did not come with any jewelry, but Frank was always good at accessorizing his masks. And that little lady's rare. To go on with JORDU's story, you know, a lot of you know where he's at now and all the accomplishments he's had in the past 20 plus, even 20 plus years. So JORDU told me he learned a lot while working with Jeff Death. And after a year, he went on to go back to Philly, and this is when he really took this mask making thing very seriously. He was bit by the bug. I mean, he was immersed in one of the greatest mask companies of the 80s back then, Death Studios, working with one of the best, who's created countless monsters, Jeff Kine. And it's like, now he's like, I want to do this. I'm getting better. And he wanted to keep on going with it. He told me his work improved greatly. And at this time, he went to a Chicago show. He went to the Chicago trade show, and that is where he met Mr. Don Post and Ed Edmonds. Ended up talking with them, and ended up going to live in LA, California. And the rest, of course, is history. His independent career now is just through the roof. One of the finest sculptors and monster/creature creators that we know, that's here with us today, is JORDU Schell. So I could not wait to show you these things. I've been dying to show you these, but some were covered in mold. I just couldn't clean them all right away. This alien warrior, could you imagine having a rare blank of that? I wonder if there's a rare blank of it somewhere. Oh, look at that. JORDU and I both agree this is probably the only known blank of the alien warrior that exists in the universe. He's like, I don't remember sending Frank that, but I guess I did. And this was in that metal cabinet I spoke of. And I'm like, at first I'm like, it'd be cool to paint that up. And a buddy of mine goes, hey, maybe I could paint that up for you. That'd be cool if you want to have me paint it. But now I'm talking to JORDU. I sent him a text message of it. Sorry, Dino. JORDU says, man, let me paint that for you. I'm like, holy shit. Yeah, like, that would be crazy to have him paint a brand new version of this old classic. So I'm going to have it foam filled and send it on to JORDU and have him do his magic on one of his original old masks from his teenage years, you know. And I think it's so cool that he'll be able to lay paint on something that he sculpted, you know, at the age of 19 or 20 years old. So can't wait for that. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and I hope it wasn't as boring as my mold cleaning video. You know, everybody, I don't know how to make these videos any more exciting. We're just talking about old rubber masks. Like, how more exciting can they get? You know, if your attention span is that horrible and your personality is in the toilet, maybe you should go watch something else. This is for people that like cool shit. You know, people that, maybe people live in the past like I do and they love the old stuff. Hey, I get it. But if you're just, you know, some goofball out there that can't handle an amateur YouTuber like myself, I don't know what to tell you. And I don't care. But all the rest of you, I love you all. And please hit the like button. Prepare for more videos coming in the days to come. Maybe even tomorrow I'll shoot another one. Anyway, thank you again. The work of the young JORDU SCHELL. Cool stuff here that you're probably not going to see anywhere else. And JORDU, I want to thank you once again for the great phone interview. You know, he and I have talked in person and stuff, but I never really asked him the questions I asked him the other night, and it was so cool hearing that Frank was the first guy to reach out to him. That's insane to me. So again, thanks, and I will see you guys later.